Hello there, Boy here, and welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, we are going to be rewinding just a little bit of a save here going on here. So we've got this one. Now, don't worry, this is still after we've completed the quest. It's just there's a little 20-minute difference where I woke up and read all of the codex logs that we've been missing out on, and we will be doing that, and we will also be speeding through the horse that bolted quest. Now, that quest took me absolutely ages to complete, and I did end up having to Google how to do it, and I'll be getting into why in a bit. The quest isn't actually nearly as poorly designed as I initially thought, but it does still have one big fuck up that led to my conclusion. If you're worried about me saying something retarded, don't worry about it. I'll explain it in a bit. All right. First of all, we're going to get over here. Yeah, it is only I've moved from thinking that the entire quest is horrendously designed to thinking to going back. Okay, it was actually way easier than I thought. But there's still, instead of it having a long list of just insane fuck ups, it's just got the one. So what we've got going on here is none of this. Codex, that's the one. General. Okay, right, so we have burghers. In the Middle Ages, the relationships between townsfolk and villagers were not particularly good. Townspeople, not only those enjoying the freedom of full city rights, but also the poor, regarded themselves as higher ranking than cultural peasants in villages. Often enough, they did indeed have higher social standing due to their trade and business profits. Towns were the economic and cultural centers, but it was the country that provided the goods, especially foodstuffs. In a medieval town, the best properties around the square and the market were owned by rich councillors and merchants. Around them lived the craftsmen and artisans, and the poor by the city walls. The townspeople's livelihoods stemmed largely from trade, skilled crafts, and many associated professions. Like today, the townsfolk bought their food at the market. According to some sources, Prague at the time of Charles IV had some 40,000 inhabitants. At this time, London had about 80,000. Paris was comparable to Prague, although the Czech capital covered a larger area. The nobles did not generally live in the cities, but resided on their own estates. Lovely, and over here we have burial. Records of burials are as old as mankind itself, but Christianity radically changed all the customs around interment, and linked death inextricably with religious rituals and blessings. Before one's death, one had to be absolved of sins by confession and penance, and receive the last rites, and where there was imminent likelihood of death, for example when going off to do battle, extreme unction was given just in case. One's final resting place was also of importance. The best places were deemed to be inside a church, in the walls or under the floor, followed by closest proximity. Hence, cemeteries sprang up right next to churches, often in the very center of the village. The cemetery, hallowed ground, became an integral part of towns and villages and a regular meeting place for people, where they even traded and closed contracts. There was no sense of bereavement as we know it today. The dead and the living coexisted side by side. Only suicides, criminals, the sick, heretics, executioners, unidentified strangers, and unbaptized children were buried outside the cemetery in unhallowed ground. During plague epidemics and wars, the customary funerals were done away with. In later centuries, were done away with temporarily with a frequent need for mass graves. In later centuries, for reasons of hygiene and contamination of underground water, most of the old cemeteries were abolished, even involving exhumation and reinterring outside of town. It was common for those facing death to make at least oral will, to make at least an oral will, and also to forfeit some of their assets, if they had any, to the church for facilitating their passage to the next world. Burial of commoners was conducted in simple wooden boxes or sacks, with the deceased being wrapped in a shroud. Funerals of the wealthy and ruling classes were a different matter entirely. These were costly, ostentatious ceremonies with all attendant pomp and circumstance. Royal funerals were attended by thousands of people. Wealthy families had their final resting places in the church or crypt, marked by tombstones, while the custom of the mausoleum came later. Would it happen to be the mausoleum of the Arbiter? Okay, alright. Over here we have folk songs. Folk music, as distinct from church music, inclined to major scales and was more joyful and upbeat. In Bohemia and Moravia, it was for centuries a part of rural daily life. Most of the songs were passed down by oral tradition, while a few can be found in hymnals and chronicles. Some have been preserved to this day in variations. Well, isn't that lovely, I believe, which the song that we heard during the fine evening be counted as a hymn? I don't know. Healing herbs. Ah, yes, now I want to play Resident Evil again. Herbs played an important role, not only in medieval cuisine, but also as the foundation of the healing arts. Knowledge about herbs was disseminated either by word of mouth between herb women in the country, or between monks and scholars via ancient scripts. Many herbs can be taken in the form of teas, concoctions, by prolonged cooking, infusions in scalding water, as extracts, macerated, I don't know, tinctures, alcohol leached, or steeped in vinegar, juices or concentrates for gargling. Adding honey or sugar did nothing for the efficacy of herbal salves, but it did help the medicine go down better. In addition to ingestion, herbs were applied in the form of creams, ointments, poultices, or oils, emulsified and diluted in water. In certain cases, the advice was to sleep on cushions filled with dried plants. It was believed, especially in rural areas, that the properties of the herbs were affected by the particulars of when and how they were gathered. For example, on Midsummer Night, at midnight, or at midnight, etc., accompanied by special formulaic incantations or enchantments. Well, who doesn't love enchantments? The morgue. The morgue was that's not the rest of the sentence, by the way. I mean, yeah, I don't think the morgue do like enchantments, to be perfectly honest. I think they might be adamantly opposed. The morgue was a simple building of wood or stone, built near the church or in a corner of the cemetery. It was the place where biers and coffins for the deceased were put. Here, the family kept vigil over the body of the departed and prepared it for burial. Lovely. And we have paganism. Pagan ways survived in Bohemia even after the adoption of Christianity, mainly in the form of the folk traditions and customs. These contained elements from the cultures of the Celts, Germans, and Slavs, the respective influences intermingling over time and becoming more and more adapted to Christianity. Some customs kept their original form, for example, folk superstitions and rhymes. Others gave way to church pressure completely. Paganism in the Slavic countries survived in motifs adorning jewelry and objects, in folk medicine, and in the form of holidays, the winter and summer solstices, the Mardi Gras, Easter, Walpurgis Night, Midsummer Night, All Souls, oh wow, I haven't played that one yet, Advent, and Christmas. All were modelled on original pagan celebrations, but were renamed under Christianity and modified in content. Wow, oh, modified in content maybe? Oh, I missed this one. Music. Until the 11th century, music and singing were mostly liturgical, though also associated with everyday activities. In the world of religion, there were the Gregorian chants, taking their name from Pope Gregory the Great, or musical forms with Latin singing unaccompanied by instruments. Used in the rites of the Roman Catholic Church, the Middle Ages were not averse to singing, but a difficult time for musical instruments, since the Church frowned upon any kind of music other than vocal. For centuries, therefore, the instruments of old continued to be used, and no new ones were invented. Instrumental music in its own right gained prominence only in the 14th century, in the Ars Nova or New Art period. The concept of an original musical work or composition was as yet unknown. Music arose mostly from improvisation, and musical works were learned off by heart and spread by oral transmission. Well, I feel like that's sort of how music should be spread. But we have town gates. The city gates, there were always at least two. Served to watch over the comings and goings of the city dwellers, and tolls and duties were collected there from traders for goods brought in and sold. The ground level housed the armory and storage facilities. The highest level featured an astronomical clock or town clock. The gate tower was typically a rectangular tower of greater or less height, with a passage through and a drawbridge over a frontal moat. The walls of some cities also included a water gate, through which the townspeople made their way to the water supply. There were also dedicated gates for the executioner and his henchmen, for unclean people, as well as Jewish gates. After closing time, it was only possible to enter the city with a special permit from the councillors. Anyone who failed to make it back in time had to spend the night outside the city walls. The gate was locked with a key that was kept overnight with the bailiff or the head of the city council. Isn't that lovely? Because, oh my goodness, we have towns and cities. In the Middle Ages, the merchant settlements and villages on major trade routes or around castles became the first towns. They were founded by specialized businessmen called allocators. Their task was to seek out settlers. There's no full stop there, by the way. How dare you? Their task was to seek out settlers, to prepare and apportion the land, and to build a community. The ruler set down the rights and obligations concerning the locators and settlers. For example, the level and method of collecting taxes and benefits, town privilege rules of self-government, capital justice rights, trading, market rights and 1 mile right, extending to 1 mile beyond the town walls, and brewing and handling beer, brewing rights. Newly established settlements and cities were often exempt from taxes for a certain period, hence many Czech villages are called lhota, or grace period. Towns were of different types: royal, seigneurial, vining, and dowry, which belonged to the queen. Seigneurial towns were divided into ecclesiastical, secular, feudal, and those of the royal chamber. Apart from the feudal settlements, towns were mostly rectangular in layout, with streets perpendicular to a central square, featuring a rathaus/town hall, market, and a church. Until the 14th century, the main streets and squares of the largest towns remained unpaved or uncobbled. Waste was emptied directly into the street or thrown into waste pits dug around the houses, despite the fact that sanitation had existed since antiquity. Gutters of rammed earth carried sewage and rainwater alongside the streets, and an unpleasant smell remained hovering over the town. Settlements were surrounded by wooden palisades, and from the second half of the 13th century there had to be at least 2 gates through it. In Kingdom from Deliverance, we reconstructed the towns based on a range of medieval designs, mostly larger and wealthier than they were in reality. Lovely. So, over here we have travel and traveling merchants. Travel was dangerous in the Middle Ages, but necessary, especially for traders. The roads differed by their purpose. Trade routes had river fords, bridges, inns, signposts, milestones, and so on. Pilgrimage routes were without such luxuries. A person was able to cover about 25 to 30 kilometers per day by wagon. Wayfarers would overnight at inns near road junctions. Their goods stored in a depot. In times of instability and chaos, the kind in which the Kingdom from Deliverance story takes place, traders and travelers would often be waylaid by marauders, which led to traveling in groups with a hired armed escort. Makes sense to me. Bohemia imported canvas, silk, and other textiles, weapons, wine, salt, seafood, saltwater fish, southern fruit, spices, and other exotic and luxury goods. Goods exported included wheat, butter, honey, beeswax, beer, malt, freshwater fish, cheeses, and other local products. Well, you know what, that's all great and everything, because over here we have university. One of the oldest universities in Europe was Prague University, later Charles University. Founded in 1348 by Charles IV, founded in 1348 by Charles IV. Students could study here at the arts, theological, medical, and later on, law faculties or schools. The arts faculty brought in basic religious education and taught grammar, rhetoric, dialectics, arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and music. In the early 15th century, more than 1,000 students were taught here and were also provided with college accommodation. A total of 80% of the students at the University of Prague came from abroad, mainly from Hungary, Austria, Poland, and Germany. The medieval universities allowed one to graduate with a bachelor's or master's degree or doctorate, conditional on passing a spoken viva voce examination before a commission. Some disciplines were studied for far longer than today, even more than 10 years. After passing the final examination, the student received a diploma. From the earliest times, the university was headed by a rector, assisted by deans of the various faculties, followed by members of the university council, and below them the numerous tutors, professors, and cantors. Among others who lectured at the university was the preacher and reformer Jan Hus, who I have been politely informed historically died of death. Witchcraft. In the Czech lands, any practices, especially by women, connected with magic that were intended to harm rather than help, were regarded as witchcraft. And, not just that definition either, as we'll be reading. Let me attempt that again, shall I? In the early Middle Ages, witchcraft was differentiated into white magic, beneficial and associated with healing, and black magic, curses, hexes, and abusive magic for iniquitous purposes. Magic encompassed divination, necromancy, alchemy, herbalism, entrenched pagan customs and rituals, which had originally constituted an integral part of medieval society. By the end of the 15th century, efforts to eradicate witchcraft culminated in senseless witch hunts and persecution of anyone involved with magic. The persecutions peaked around the end of the 16th century, when hundreds of people fell victim to the zeal of the witch hunters. Many superstitions and half-truths have arisen concerning witchcraft, as well as the Inquisition, though only a few are grounded in truth. Although many were convicted and condemned during the period, most of those accused of heresy or witchcraft got off unscathed. On the contrary, it was often those who had denounced them with acquisitive intent, and those accusations proved to be false, who were punished. More people fell prey to lynch mobs and fanatical self-proclaimed inquisitors than to institutionalized witch burnings. Self-proclaimed inquisitor. Yeah, so it's not actually the Inquisition, it's self-proclaimed inquisitors. Yeah, okay, right, I'm following. Locations. We've got Neuhof. According to written chronicles, Neuhof by Sassau was a noble's court, which was destroyed during extensive floods and horse murder. The small town of Novodvori was built in its place. Rathai on Sassau. Rathaj, or Rathai, was a small market town with two castles. The upper castle, known simply as Rathai Castle, or Rathai, I think people have been saying Rathai, as Rathai Castle, and the lower castle, known as Perkstein or Perkenstein, which is Perkstein or Perkenstein. I don't know what that looks like a J to me, but I mean it should be an I, so I'm going to say I. Perkenstein. The oldest written record of Rathai dates back to the 13th century, when it was the property of Privislav of Rathai, mentioned in records of 1263 and 1289. At about the same time, ownership of Rathai passed to Burgrave Rosnata of Uzis, whose sons, or Uschitz, that's probably Uschitz, right? Whose sons held several other castles and villages in the surrounding area. In 1293, King Wenceslas II gave Rathai to Bishop Tobias of Bechin. Well, then it became the property of Burgrave Hinek of Duba, or Dauba, who was the heir to the house of the Lords of Lipa, or Lipa. Okay, maybe I should just be skipping those, because I feel like that's just telling you how it's supposed to be spelled, then that's the translation, I don't know. Rathai experienced its greatest renown and prosperity under the administration of Henry of Lipa, died in 1329, his sons and grandchildren. His son John, who died in 1338, was the most politically active. The town was also governed by Henry's relatives, the lords of Perkstein, Jessek and Hanus. Under their administration, the two castles were built, as were the churches, and the village was given strong fortifications. We have Perkstein, the lower castle in Rathai, founded by Henry of Lippe before the mid-14th century, first mentioned dates from 1346, spreads over an island in the middle of the Zivi stream. The castle is separated from the town by a moat. This is a Bergfried-type castle with a massive tower, rounded corners in the rear, and 3 rooms on each floor. The entire structure is surrounded by ramparts. In 1447, the castle unfortunately caught fire and then quickly changed owners. It suffered even greater damage during the peasant uprising in 1627. 100 years later, from 1713 to 1724, it was rebuilt by Octavian Kinsky into a presbytery and bell tower. The upper castle. The upper castle was built at the same time as a lower castle in the mid-14th century. It also burned in the same year as Perkstein, 1447. In the 16th century, it was rebuilt into a Renaissance chateau, and in 1672, renovated in the Baroque style. Today, it houses the local town hall. Well, I don't think that we'll be living that long anyway, so... St. Matthew's Church. The Lower Rathai Church was built in the 1360s at the instigation of Jan Tasek of Perkstein and his wife Anna. Yeah, no matter how much I save scum, I don't think I'm going to be living that long. The first church was probably a single nave design and served as a parish church along with the Church of St. Nicholas, which no longer exists. From 1675 to 1691, it was demolished and rebuilt in the Baroque style according to plans by Andrzej de Gard. It has survived in this form to the present day with just a few minor changes. The only remnants of the original church are the tombs of the estate owners. For example, a tombstone with the coat of arms of the Lords of Lipa mounted into the cemetery wall, and the base of the baptismal font from 1421. St. Nicholas's Church. Probably the older of the two churches within the castle walls. The first mention dates from 1343. It was located in the upper part of Rathai before the upper wall and partially served as a presbytery. I don't know what that is. From 1336, the Koresnik Mill also belonged to the Rate Presbytery. I still don't know what that is, but oh well, we have Uschitz. The first written mention of Uschitz, in Kingdom Deliverance, Uschitz. Good morning. Dates to 1284. Until 1552, ownership of this small town was split between the Lords of Talmberg and the Lords of Rattachet, who eventually became its sole owners. The medieval Church of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary, built in the 12th century, stands in the centre of the village. Well, isn't that all lovely and everything? We have beggar. Although beggars were on the margins of society... Good morning again. Although beggars were on the margins of society, they had their indelible place in it. In the cities, there were hospitals earmarked for them, and the church also provided assistance. Begging was allowed at cemetery gates and in front of churches, and each beggar could occasionally go to the baths at municipal expense. Some monks were regulars among the beggars too, called almsmen or mendicants. Mendicant bias. That's a story. The beggars were well known and tolerated in their communities, but by contrast it was believed that foreign and wandering beggars brought misfortune. There was seldom any shortage of alms, because charity and gifts to the poor were considered prerequisites for salvation. Very well. Over here we have charcoal burner. With growing demand for processed iron, there grew a corresponding demand for charcoal, which could produce a temperature many times higher than unprocessed wood, much needed for the forging of steel weapons. The forges were supplied by charcoal burners, who spent most of the year living in the forest by their charcoal kilns. Great piles of stacked wood covered in clay with just a few vents for air, where, in an oxygen-starved atmosphere, the wood slowly pyrolyzed to charcoal. Each pile would smolder and give off much smoke for several weeks, during which time it had to be delved through repeatedly. After it burned out completely, the yield of the process, charcoal, was unearthed from beneath the clay. The charcoal was then sold at a special market bearing that name, quite separate from traders in other goods. During the reign of Wenceslas IV, the charcoal burners already had numerous rights and freedoms regarding the use of the forest, and were held in relatively high esteem. Resin was sold exclusively by wagoners and resin merchants, who themselves made pitch for greasing their wheels. The charcoal burners produced resin and pitch only as a sideline. The pitch merchants provided pitch tanneries to impregnate leather and mix it with tallow to grease the axles of wheels on wagons and carriages. So that's all brilliant and everything, because I'm going to go over here to Gravedigger, which I've to come past. Gravedigger. The gravedigger took care of the graves and their surroundings, and the occupation was hereditary. The gravedigger would live in a hut in the cemetery itself, next to the main entrance. He did his work not only in the village where he lived, but also in the surrounding villages of the parish. Gravediggers were among the pariahs on the margins of society. The only member of the general populace who came into contact with them was the parish priest. Well, that seems particularly lonely, but over here we have a scribe. His main activity was to keep records of the territorial court and the meetings of the city council. He was one of the few in medieval society who knew how to read and write, making his services welcome in almost every city. Now we have the smuggler. In the Middle Ages, smuggling was regarded as taking any goods in or out of a town without paying export or import duties. Smugglers had to know alternate routes, and how to avoid the tax collectors. When smuggling through the gates, they made use of false-bottom vehicles or baskets, or even resorted to climbing over the walls by night. Contraband included fabrics, spices, wine, and other less freely available goods subject to high taxation. Well, we're almost done with this now because we're over to characters, and I think there's only the one. Yes, it's John Hus. I don't know what this is supposed to mean, but you've got C 1370 to 6.7.1415. No idea. John Hus was a priest and thinker, and one of the most important Czech religious reformers and preachers. His works, inspired by the theological writings of John Wycliffe, is that Wycliffe or Wycliffe, played a key role in underpinning the essence of the Reformation. As of 1398, he worked and disseminated his teachings at Prague University, but as early as 1403, German professors there labeled him a heretic. 6 years later, up to 20,000 doctors, masters, and students were forced to leave Prague University as a result of theological disputes. From 1402, Hus preached at the Bethlehem Chapel in Prague, where all sermons were delivered not in Latin, but in Czech. This place became the center of the Reformation in Bohemia. Because of his controversial relationship with the church and opinions on Catholic ethics, Hus was persecuted and finally convicted of heresy by the Council of Constance, for which he was burnt at the stake. The followers of the reformist idea rallied together after the events at Constance, leading to the beginning of the Hussite Wars, which lasted from 1420 to 1434. So I think that the second game, so Menk has told me, sort of leads into the Hussite Wars. It's still like relatively like, I don't think it takes place like that far along. I'm pretty sure it's only like it's relatively after the first game, you know, like it's like pretty soon. What I'm going to do, by the way, is I should be able to take all of my belongings, equip the stuff that's actually good, sell what's not, because I'm going to go to the trader, who I know is basically right across the street from us. Yes, we have a home now, a new home. We've bought an inn for an indeterminate amount of time, and the place we're after is basically just over here. Alright, here we go. Here he is Mr. Trader. Right, let me start. Okay, I think I've already established I'm going to be sticking with that. I'm going to stick with that, the Scarlet Shield, because it seems like it'd be pretty effective, and I think the fighting style in this game favors sword and shield. What are we going to do with bows and arrows? We're going to stick with this for now, but I am going to get a cumin bow that I think I already have on me. No? Apparently I don't. Huh. I could have sworn I was supposed to have a cumin bow. Unless this guy trades at me in a minute, but no. I don't need to be here. But if we do, I'm gonna get the cumin bow, but I don't have the stats to use it just yet. So much so to the point where it's not less effective, it's completely ineffective, because Henry literally can't even pull the string, an arrow far back enough to hold it there. He just sort of like puts the arrow on the string and then just drops it. Like it's completely, you can't use it in combat whatsoever. You literally can't use it at all whatsoever. So I'm not actually going to use it. What I am going to do is equip everything that's useful here, and then everything that's got better armor. I'm not fussed about all these other stats, because I suppose I should be considering these stats if I actually want to, like, you know, use charisma and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like being out and about, I do just kind of want to I do kind of want to pay attention to right, where's my horse, by the way? I'm mainly just focused on the stuff, the armor. No, so my horse Pebbles had the human bow. I've just spotted it there. I've also accidentally dropped something, so I am going to be getting that back as well. I have a lot of inventory space, so I'm going to have to be quick about this in a minute. Right, there's another blood. I accidentally dropped that instead of moving it to my inventory. Oh no, he's
Lost something here.
No, because he's, oh no, damn it, because he's, okay.
What's the matter with you?
Right, no, because he's done that. Right, I need to drop all my stuff off again, because he's closed shop. Human riding boots. Yeah, I may as well get a little bit of extra charisma if I can. The human van braces. I need to start, like, fixing some of this equipment. Hunting boots, apparently those are better. Leather jerkin, don't mind if I do. And then, obviously, you. Padded black coif, and then what's going on here? Yeah, just doing stuff like this, you know, just cycling through it. No, whoa. Okay, no, that actually is good. Yeah, see, I'm not really fussed about, like, all the other stuff. I want better armor, like, I want that. That's, like, my priority. There you go. I'll buy some bread and bacon. The bacon, Mutt can have the bacon. Actually, where is Mutt? I don't think Mutt's allowed in here, is it? Right. Mutt, you can have some bacon, mate. I'll feed you in the morning as well. So you can have that, and then I'm gonna sneak in here and get myself a little bit of scran. Where is it? You got you, and then there you go. Yum. That's the one. There you go. That'll do. And then should be able to sleep it off, get some breakfast in the morning, and then I'll feed Mutt again. Alright, well, apparently I can't sleep longer than this, so I suppose we're just going to be doing this and then just waiting for a bit. What if I sleep for a bit and then I just get up and wait for like 3 hours and then I sleep again? Oh, this reminds me of the Skyrim days, and
Jesus Christ,
I could never and would never not be encumbered. I don't need all these torches. I'm just going to keep the one on me. Alright, let's do it. Oh, yeah, he doesn't have nearly as much stuff for that. let me get... Whoa, what is this? Antidote to poison, but it doesn't cure food poisoning. I should get that. Yeah, that seems like it'd be a useful thing to get. I'll get all of you, because I can. There you go. Let's have a look. Hercules and his diet. I'll do it. He only has 280 to give me for this, so... miracle concoction. I probably should have, like, all of these, right? Yeah. You get 45 out of all that. I should have those. I need to start using them a lot more as well. Savor schnapps, I could have them. I don't need them, that's the thing. In the time that I try and save before doing stuff, I could do it though, you know? If I start buying them and then actually just using them more, you know? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I could do that. You pay 259. Yeah, there you go. Sure. All right. Brilliant. Check basket. Boom. There you go. Look at that. I mean, still spent those. Yeah. It's like if I could be a little bit more lenient with them. Like every time I'm about to enter a fight or something, I could save. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the inn. We've got a fresh inventory now. We've sold all our useless stuff. We've got loads of better equipment. I could do with like I mean, I've got an armor thing. But like I don't really have the skill to use it very much. So I could go. Where is it? Small armor's kit, apply, you know, I could try and do it. There you go, 2 damage. I don't know if there's you don't have skill enough to repair it. Yeah, see, I need to get my skill with that. I don't know if I can train like a blacksmith. I mean, you'd think that, well, no, because you wouldn't necessarily be able to use an armor's kit just because you're a blacksmith, but, I was gonna say, what, oh yeah, I'm speaking to, what's going on here? Is this food for like bot or something? What on earth? I guess it must be. Well, not specifically, but yeah, I guess it's dog food or something. Or maybe it's just like a bowl of soup for the homeless. I don't know. Right. Although you'd think you wouldn't just leave it there in the path. You'd have it on like a table somewhere. But what's happening around here?
Is there anything suspicious going on in these parts?
I haven't already spoken to you about.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Praise God.
All right. Maybe I've already spoken to the guy about that. Anyway, the guy. What's supposed to happen is the guy tells you that a guy called Vashek has, like a complete melon, done something up at the barn. And that's basically just telling you to go up to the barn and speak to Vashek about the little quest that we're going to be doing. So let me go and find where that is. Why does it always do that? I don't even have that quest enabled. I don't like it when it does that. Nope. So we are going the wrong way. And what we're supposed to be doing is going all the way down this way to the left. And then we'll be following this path all the way down until we get to the barn. All the way on the other side of town, excuse me, ma'am. Yeah, the barn's like way over there, so we'll go and make our way in that direction. I need to see if I can find like a blacksmith or something to fix my equipment, but I haven't really found one in this town yet. I thought you'd think that I'd be able to ask like the innkeeper or something about the areas, but yeah, you can't. So, yeah, so a guy called Vashek has lost a horse called Pi. I think this is it in a minute. Yes, it is. Here we go. Because it's there on the compass. And so we are going to go looking for that horse, and we're going to bring them back and get a nice reward. So, what's going on and where? This guy, here it is, horse trader. So, we're speaking to the groom about Pi, not, You okay? I thought you fell in for a second. Head groom. God be with you too, good sir. Any work available around here?
Any work going here?
Enough for a dozen men. You could take the place of that useless stablehand Vashek for a start.
Oh no, what's he done?
Did he do something wrong?
Just found out that he lost our Pi.
Lost it where? In his stomach?
No, Pi was our fastest stallion.
I see.
A lovely dappled one.
A dappled grey one.
Well, that's bad news. How did Vashek manage to lose him?
He fell. Banged his head and the horse bolted.
Oh dear me, I've done that before.
Can you fathom it? A stablehand falling off a horse. And then Pi took off at a gallop.
Very well. Any idea where he lost him?
Well, I can't take Vashek's job, but I can try to find your Pi.
That would be nice of you.
Absolutely.
If there's anything you need to know, ask that fool. I was too livid to even speak to him.
Right. Very well. You do that, and I'll go and speak to him. Yeah, we're not going to be buying a new horse. Yeah, it is funny. Don't worry, Pebbles. I will not be replacing you, you lovely horse. But it is funny to know, by the way, that Pi is he's better in literally all stats than Pebbles. But don't worry, I shan't be replacing you, Mr. Vashek. Don't worry, I'll stand right here so you don't have to.
Good day to you.
Good day to you too, Mr. Vashek. The horse that bolted.
How's the head?
So even strangers know my shame.
Yes.
Come on, then. Come and take a closer look at Vashek the Blockhead.
I'd rather take a closer look at where you lost your pie.
Well, it was pretty funny, but I didn't come to taunt.
So what is it you want?
I want to find that horse.
I promised the head groom that I'd look for pie.
Well, good luck with that.
Okay.
I've been searching half the day. Although I have been seeing double ever since that bang on the head. So it's possible I missed something.
Well, very well then. Describe pie to me.
Can you describe pie for me?
Long face. 4 legs.
Well, I'm not trying to ask you to describe yourself.
You did hit your head hard, didn't
Oh,
you?
I didn't pick that the first time. I
Yes.
picked the other one.
Why?
Okay.
I asked you to describe pie. Not every horse in the world.
Sorry, he's a dappled grey, a stallion, and he's really fast. Though that won't help you much.
Quite the opposite.
Oh, is it dappled grey? Okay, all right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, my horse is grey. Where did you lose pie?
Where did you fall off, pie?
Just south of here, between the fields and woods, there's a crossroads where 4 paths meet. It was around there.
4 paths.
Actually, it's not
So we
between the
could've gone
woods. It's in the woods.
Now you see my problem.
Yeah. It's actually not between the fields and the woods. That literally leads you to the wrong crossroads. Thank fuck for quest markers that shouldn't exist anyway. There's 2 crossroads. One between the field and the woods, and one that's like right at the edge of the woods. That's the right one, not the one you described. This is what I hate about the game's directions. It always tells you the wrong fucking way. I hate it. Anyway, it's like there are 2 things that there are 2 things that could possibly be the thing that the game describes, and it's always the wrong one. I don't get it. Why does it do that? When did this happen?
When was that?
In the morning.
Uh-huh.
Then I staggered about for a while, feeling as rough as a boar's ass. I was glad to stagger back here in the end.
Oh dearie me, I don't think the head groom was.
Fine. I'll go and look for him.
Yeah. Alright, let's go do that.
If you find him, the groom might go easier on me. Oh, and one more thing.
Yes.
Pies used to take in the bridal ways, so I'd keep to those.
Yeah,
That's useful. Thanks.
That literally doesn't like help you at all. Like it's as in it's well like it does technically, but it's like the most vaguest piece of information, because you know the bridleways are basically just the bridleways are basically just paths that are designed for horses, but there are loads of bridleways, so it's not really, it don't really narrow it down. It basically just means stick to the right path that you're taking. But anyway, right, so I'll show you the map, right? Oh, for God's sake, get out of there. Right. It's like, yeah, so there's a crossroads here, and then there's a crossroads here. That is not between the fields and the woods. That is in the woods, okay? All right, like, look, there are trees behind it, all right? I ain't going there. Anyway, what the game wants us to do is we go here, then we're supposed to look around the immediate vicinity. Now, I didn't pick up on the clue, but I did end up looking around. I did end up going these directions and finding the area that the game wanted me to go to anyway, which, you know, there is a clue there. It's just missable, and I missed it. I don't blame the game for that. Like, that's, you know, there was a clue there, and I just missed it. That's a me thing. But when we go over here, when I first tried doing the quest, the people that you're supposed to speak to weren't outside, and I didn't realize that you had to speak to. Well, you don't technically have to, but they tell you where to go next. They were inside arguing about something, and obviously I couldn't go in there without like getting arrested or something. So I just came along this area, looked around, and then realized I couldn't go in. I thought, oh, I guess I'll just keep looking around, and then went a different direction. So yeah, like the game needs like a knock on door button or something, man, because like it was like 8 in the morning or something like that, and they were inside, you know, they wouldn't come out to speak to me. So you know, I didn't realize that I had to speak to them for the quest. I didn't realize that they had anything to do with the quest. I was just looking around the area. But then the instructions they give you are also inaccurate again. Like the woman you speak to tells you that she saw him at the crossroads. By the crossroads, she means where the fuck is it? It's not. See, the path isn't even on the bloody map. Right, there's a path that goes off of here into the woods. Do you remember the camp that we stayed at with Hans when we went hunting? That's the camp that we're going to, and it's like here somewhere. First of all, that area isn't even on the map, and second of all, it is not a crossroads. This is a crossroads. This is also a crossroad. Technically not, because there's a gap in the middle, but still, it's crossroads enough, right? The area that we're going to, right, is a little fucking fork in the road that just splits off into the woods. That's not a crossroads, all right? This is a crossroads, because you see how the... Look at that. Go to the crossroads. She didn't say anything about crossroads specifically. She just... No, she says the crossroads. Well, I just fucking came from the crossroads, right? And she says the crossroads in the woods. That's in the woods. The area that we're going to isn't in the woods, right? That we're splitting to isn't in the... Well, technically, it will be in the woods once you get this far, but the area we're going to is, like, here. It's, like, at the very edge of the woods, right? Like, again... The game over-explains the wrong details to the point where it misleads you. Like, if it just said the road south to Neuhoff, right, that would have been fine. Because that's what she does say that, but then she gives, like, then she starts giving the wrong details, which narrow you down to the wrong area. That's the thing that I hate. But the directions that the game gives you, it narrows. They narrow down the search to the wrong area, whereas they could be literally. I'm going the wrong way anyway. They could literally be slightly more vague, and at least you would have a wider search area that ends up being correct. Whereas, okay, I've gone to the place anyway. I'll go to the crossroads first anyway, just to like show you what's supposed to happen. But yeah, it's like, okay, if you could have a wider search area with less instructions, that would be correct, and there'd still be enough to go on. The hell? What? Oh, bloody hell. Alright, hang on. Whoop. No, wait, I have a bow and arrow, still. Oh, wait, no, because you don't... Gonna get the bloody bow and arrow out. Okay, right. I hate, like, how unresponsive it is. Right, so, piercing arrow, that'll do for now. Right, now, where is this guy? Nope. Nope. Okay, right. This isn't working. Also, pebbles can die. Wait a minute. What's this guy doing? See, here's the thing. I can't call this game authentic and realistic when it's this glitchy, alright? I hate it. I hate it when, like, enemies doing this kind of thing, right? How the fuck was that a miss? That was very clearly a hit. Oh, god damn it. Right, let me... anyway, long distance arrow. Sure. Alright, wait for it. Ow. Got him. No. There you go. Look at that. Flawless victory. What are you going to do about it? Grab body. No, how about I just do this? Boom. Loot. There you go. Why is the... Yeah, there you go. Alright, look at that. Flawless victory, guys. I've done it. Wow, that apparently... Oh, no. That's just my... I was going to say that boosts my skills loads, but that's just because I'm in the Savage Lands. Yeah, I've got the Savage perk now, so that's the thing I've got going on for myself. That's not doing anything. Alright then, let's go. I still need to actually feed more again, by the way. Let me just put that away. So, these are the crossroads that you're supposed to go to. You're expected...
This will be the crossroads. So where did Pi go? Yeah,
indeed. So, you're supposed to come down from this way, but it doesn't really matter. So, there's... I didn't see these on the road, but I didn't see these before, but they are there. Just little piles of shit. Leading us off into this direction. So you're supposed to see these, and then you're like, oh, what's off in this direction? And then it just takes us back to the farm. What the hell? Wait a minute. What? Hi.
Hold it right there.
No.
Drop your...
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not actually. I'm very much alive. Right, I don't want to lead these guys to the farm if I can help it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you up. No, come on now. All right, so this is where we're going to make it a little bit of a stand. So you do that. Get your bow and arrow out, thank you. Right, let's go.
Call that combat.
No, I don't. Go. Right. I haven't saved.
I'll slaughter you.
Alright. Swords out. Why did you do that, Henry? Right, come on. Okay, I'll give you that one. Get lost. Whoa. No, I'm not clicking that. Turn around. No, thank you. All right.
I don't know.
No, turn, you idiot. I hate turning and stuff in this game. No, turn. Fuck. I swear, mate, I hate multi-combat in this game. It doesn't work. It's not designed for fighting several people at once. But like, I know that it's supposed to be difficult. That's not the problem. The problem. No, move, Mort, move! I swear to God, get out the way. I'm gonna kill this dog. Move. Oh. But it's this. You can't do anything when two people are attacking you at once. Mort, get out of the fucking way. Get lost. There, alright. I swear to God, get out of the way. Right, God damn it, dog. No, you take that, mate. Get lost. Right. No. Right. No. I'm not letting you surrender. Get lost. Right. No. Mercy kill. Sure. I've done it, guys. I've won a 2v1. See, the problem with... Why are you targeting me? What the hell? See, the problem, right, is that you can't swap between targets seamlessly. Right? Yeah, you can get lost. I don't care. You can't swap between targets seamlessly, right? Because it's like the mouse wheel thing just doesn't work. They have to both be in frame. And it's like, look, I'm trying to... If I know that a guy is like trying to fucking come at me from like 120 degrees. So why can't I just turn and fight him? Like, no, I have to very, very slowly navigate around the guy I'm facing just so that this guy is in view, and then I turn to fight him. Don't goddamn do that, because that's so annoying. I can't... Like, I don't want to bloody focus at this guy. I can't focus at this guy. So I can't block an attack from this direction if you won't let me turn that direction. And I can't keep bloody locking on and unlocking on because I can't parry properly if I'm not locking on. Anyway, I've got a defense thing going on. Perfect block. Oh, wow. Firm grip. Blocking your strikes will cost an opponent 15% more stamina. Weapon Cruncher. If you beat your opponent in a clinch, you'll damage his weapon 15% more. A damaged weapon will cause much less damage, as well as its price being greatly reduced. Okay, I feel like that one's probably going to be a lot easier to go to, because I can't do that just yet, you know? I don't really have the... what do I need to get this up now? I need to level up to level 8, though. That's really annoying. Your armor makes a 30% more frightening impression in dialogues. Oh, wow. Knight in shining armor. In sunny weather, the glint of your armor will dazzle everyone so much you'll be taken for a normal knight and get a charisma bonus. The more plate armor components you wear, the higher the bonus. And you've got this one, well worn. You're able to equip your armor, weapons, and other items so cleverly that they are 1/3 lighter than they actually weigh in the inventory. That is really, really nice. Anyway, all that's dealt with. Wait a minute, do I need to heal myself? I go boom, and then boom, and then oh, maybe I do. This injury can result in... Okay, so I've got a little bit of injury, so if I go over here and I go boom, I can go you, and then go... If you're not bleeding... Oh, right, so I'm not actually bleeding, I just have to sort of be careful. I could use a marigold potion, I believe. Where is it? Oh, maybe I won't actually need to... I don't expect to get into many more fights, so I'm actually not going to do that. Wait, it's not even... Wait, what? Oh, it'll be in food, won't it? Marigold potion. A bard potion. What does this do? Loosens the tongue and lowers inhibition. Are you sure it's not just an alcoholic drink then? Increases speech by 5 for 10 minutes. Oh, wow. Nourishment 5. Yeah, okay, sure. I might actually get away with eating some bread. And I'll give Mort some stuff as well. I've got beer. Yeah, well, yeah, I'll have that. We've got loads of food and stuff like that. Yeah, may as well. Freshly roasted pork cracklings. I'll do that. Marigold decoction. I have loads of these. Yeah. Well, what the? What? Wait, what? I mean, I guess food. First of all, I didn't even know I could do this, but all right. Oh, so wait. Does that mean I could? What? Okay, all right. I can put save your schnapps on certain foods and everything. That's great. Preserver. What is this? Increases the freshness of food by 50%. Keeps food fresh for longer and can turn rotten products into edible ones. That doesn't sound right at all, but I suppose I'll be holding on to it. Moonshine. Watch for the hangover. I will do that at some point. I'm getting that at some point, but not right now. So yeah, I'll just eat that for now. Why not? So that'll heal us up ever so slightly. See, this is what I mean. This is what happened last time. Like, I just hear these NPCs just talking about something random that's got nothing to do with anything, right? So, like, look, I can't go in there to speak to them. So, if I didn't know for a fact that these guys were related to the quest, you know, forgive me for just going around the area and, you know, just going past this area. Like, I came here before, but I didn't, like, wait, okay, I probably don't actually need to wait that long. See, it was like almost 10 o'clock for crying out loud, and the guys are just inside. Like, what are you playing at? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, look, if these guys are relevant for a quest, you can't have them indoors, you can't have them behind a locked door at bloody 10 o'clock. They're still there. I can't, do you know what I mean? Like if I'm waiting, if I did this, right, if I did this the first time, right, I'd probably just assume that you can't speak to them full stop. Yeah, look, they're still in there. They're just refusing to come out. Okay, all right, I'm not bothering with this. All right, okay, so, like this bloody woman in there that you speak to, what the game wants you, how the game wants you to interpret what she says is to go down this road and then just go off, like, and then just go off to the, apparently I haven't picked that sword up, and then go off to the right. But the game didn't say anything about going off to the right. It doesn't have to. It's just, you know, wait a minute. Oh, first of all, I need to feed more. It doesn't have to give you instructions that specific. It's just that it likes you to think that it does give you specific instructions. It's just they're specifically wrong. So anyway, yeah, she tells you that she spotted Pi when she was like picking up brush or something like that from in the woods, and she said along the road south, south along the road to Neuhof. Now. So this road, if you go south, does take you to Neuhof. If you where does this road go? Yeah, no, mate, this is the problem, right? The road south to Neuhof, both of these roads go south to Neuhof. The only problem is that this bitch up here mentions the crossroads that I just came from. Like, again, that's what I mean. The game goes way too specific to the point where it becomes specifically wrong. Because again, there's no crossroads along here. Alright, we'll go along. Right, we'll take this road south to this road south to Neuhof. Right, not that way. I don't want you to go that way. It wants you to keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Just, you know, we'll get there eventually. Blah, 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 blah. Come on, we'll get there. Okay, it's further down than I expected it to be, but oh well. Yeah, here it is. All right, boom. So you could go that way, or you could go this way, and there's the guy that you're supposed to speak to. Now, I don't know where I am here. I think I'm somewhere up, I don't know. It's not here. I'm not there, am I? I might be, but I'm wondering if this place that we're at would actually show up on the map, but it's here anyway. So we're supposed to speak to this guy. And again, like, you would just come across this by accident, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't, like, there were several turns in different directions we could have taken, like, again, which would have been, no, wait,
My
what the fuck?
respects to you.
What? Hang on, you can speak to some people that don't say E on them. Why didn't it say E on him? The fuck? What? What's the point in it saying E on some people if you can also speak to people that doesn't say E on? What the?
Have you seen a horse running
But
loose?
also,
A dappled grey.
I've tried speaking to other people that it doesn't say E on, and you can't speak to them.
I did see a riderless horse
God
gallop through
fucking
here.
damn it!
It went too fast for me to be sure of the color.
Where did you see him?
A short distance down the road, there's a brook. I was there fetching water when that horse gave me the fright of my life.
And where did he run onto?
I wish it frightened you to death, man.
Well, he splashed about and then ran upstream into the woods.
Much obliged.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Good luck in your search. Farewell.
So, thankfully, once you find this guy, the quest goes back to, you know, sensible human proportions again. Because the instructions he gave you, unfortunately, I don't know what a creek is, but it doesn't matter because he mentioned going upstream. And again, I wouldn't blame the game for using a creek as an instruction. If I don't know what a creek is, that's my business. I'm not blaming the game for that. But it does say they saw them splashing around upstream. So basically, we're just going up the stream, we're just following the river upstream until we find some other people to talk to, which in this case would happen to be a bunch of charcoal burners. So this is where the game actually starts giving you, like, you know, sensible instructions. Not just sensible instructions, but this is where the game gives you instructions that actually lead you in the right direction. You know, they're not wrong, they don't take you in the wrong direction, they actually lead you in the right direction. So you go over here, and you can speak to, I believe, any one of the charcoal burners, but Anyway, charcoal burner. Yeah, here you go.
God almighty, has something happened to you?
No.
Did someone steal your fancy clothes?
No. Have you seen a horse run this way?
Have you seen a horse around here? A dappled grey?
Certainly have. He ran past here heading upstream.
Uh-huh.
Thistle went after him and hasn't come back yet.
Who's Thistle?
A local charcoal burner. None too smart. We call him Thistle.
Lovely.
Right. Well, thank you.
I shall call him Thistle too. Alright, let's
I'll
go
be with you.
further upstream until we find a man called Thistle. Excuse me. So, yeah, basically, he's on the left side, by the way, so what we will do is go... Why? Why did you stop in midair? That's literally fucking impossible, but you did it anyway. Alright, so we're following the river upstream. There's horsemanship. Look at us go. So, where is it we're off to exactly? Yeah, it's on the left side, and we're going to come across a man named Thistle, chilling next to a horse called Pie. It'll be here somewhere. There he is, there's Pie. We found it eventually. Yeah, once you speak to that wayfarer, the game starts giving you interpretable instructions again that you don't have to just guess.
That horse is mine.
No, that you don't have to just guess correctly, you know?
I'm afraid this horse is a runaway from the Uschitz stables. You can't have it.
Absolutely.
Fuck off. I don't
No.
care where he escaped from. Go find your own horse.
I have one. Would you like me to kill him? Kill you with it? Anyway, you're that Thistle they mentioned. There you go.
You're a Thistle, aren't you?
Aye? Do I know you?
No.
But as I was looking for that horse, I came across the charcoal camp, and they spoke of you.
And what did
Indeed.
they say?
Oh, they were laughing at you.
Wasn't really about
They seemed to
you.
think
It's about
were
your
some
mother.
kind of
It was-
moron for leaving your stuff unguarded.
They were laughing at me? The bastards. Thanks, friend.
You're
Anytime.
welcome, friend. You're welcome. All right, there you go. So now we get to take Pie home. Look at him go. We finally have it. There we go. All right, so now we just go right back to the stables. So yeah, the problem with this quest is that there's way too many. But again, besides the thing that I've already gone over like 1,000 times with the specifically incorrect instructions, there's way too many like random variables in order to do this quest reliably, right? Like those farmers that never leave their house. If you don't know specifically where you're supposed to go because you fucking Googled it like I did, then you would never. Then you would never solve that quest without quest markers, obviously. You would never solve that quest following the game's instructions, because the game just doesn't give you enough information to go on. Alright, here we go. We'll just drop Pie here. There we go, we're done. Return Pie to the stables. Now, where is the head groom? That's Vashak. Here he is, he's over here. And now we get an upgrade from Mr. Pebbles.
Good day to you.
Good day to you too, good sir. I found Pie.
I found pie for you.
Dear God! What a relief!
Absolutely.
Between ourselves, he was none too cheap. I don't know what I'd have done if he was gone for good.
Absolutely nothing.
Here's something for your trouble.
You don't have to
Thank
worry
you.
about that now.
Just try not to lose him again.
Absolutely.
We'll do our best.
And if you do let me know. Let's start trade. There we go. We've got a comparison. May the Lord watch over you too, because we've got 65 groschen, which is, nice. We also have a comparison, which we can use. Wait a minute. There you are, Pebbles. Absolutely. All right, so what we've got to do is we go over here to armor, and we put this over to what's his face, Pebbles, and then we go attack. There we go. Comparison. The comparison is an ornamental cape for a horse, which brings the owner distinction and admiration and flaunts his social status. Imagine the embarrassment if two knights turned up at a tournament with horses dressed in the same comparison. Scandal! Yes, well, that's our body armor, and our horse's courage has increased. Equip. There we go. Pebbles, look at you go. Absolutely. Pebbles! Just look at him. All right. Now, I've leveled up, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go to Houndmaster, and what I'm going to do is we're going to go hunt. Nope. No, whoa. I can hunt game such as Hares and Deer. Nice doggy. I'm going to do this. Get +1 charisma. I would have thought I already had that. Didn't I already have that before? Alright, Butch. Here you go, bud. Shh. Here's some bacon. Actually, I can give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that. Why not? Yeah, of course. Didn't really. Don't eat the plate. It worked. Alrighty then, the time has come for me to depart. I hope you guys had about as much fun as I did. If any games you'd like to see me play, feel free to suggest them down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a splendid 4 day.
Damn it. Is it done? Come on, please, please, please. No, are you kidding me? What is that? What is that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Ah!